Martha Washington helped shape the early United States mainly through her example of steady leadership, personal sacrifice, and public service as the First Lady and as a devoted supporter of the revolutionary cause. She spent difficult winters in army camps such as Valley Forge with George Washington, sewing clothing, tending to the sick, visiting soldiers, and encouraging officers and enlisted men whose spirits were often low, which strengthened morale and helped keep the Continental Army together in desperate times. By organizing and inspiring other women to give money and supplies for the troops, and by showing that women could actively support the new republic, she quietly modeled a new kind of citizenship for American women in the early nation. As the first presidential spouse, she created patterns of hospitality, weekly public receptions, and dignified but approachable behavior at the presidential residence, and those patterns became the unwritten standard for how First Ladies contribute to national unity and political life. At the same time, she managed large plantations and households that depended on enslaved labor, which made her socially and economically influential while also tying her life to the injustice and suffering of slavery. Her legacy is therefore a mix of admirable service and problematic participation in systems that later generations have rightly questioned. One recorded saying associated with her farewell to officers and guests is the simple blessing, "God be with you, gentlemen," reflecting how naturally faith language shaped her speech in public and private moments. Raised in the Anglican tradition in colonial Virginia, she was known as a woman of regular worship, personal prayer, and charitable works, and her trust in God helped sustain her through the deaths of close family members, the dangers of war, and the pressures of living in the national spotlight. Accounts from the time describe her praying with George Washington and encouraging others to lean on God's providence, which suggests that for her, God was not just an idea, but a source of courage and calm when the future of the new country felt uncertain. In that sense, part of the role God played in her life was to give her inner stability so that she could be a steady, hopeful presence for others when fear and doubt were common. If you want to be a positive influencer in the spirit of Martha Washington, focus first on serving faithfully where you already are instead of chasing titles or recognition. Let your character and consistency speak louder than any platform, especially in hard seasons when other people feel like they are in their own winter camp and need quiet encouragement more than big speeches. Draw close to God in honest prayer and scripture so your influence flows out of inner strength, humility, and peace rather than anxiety about what others think of you. Use your words to bless, comfort, and build bridges instead of to criticize or divide, and be willing to do small, unseen acts of kindness that make other people's burdens lighter. Over time, that kind of steady, servant-hearted life can shape families, workplaces, churches, and communities more deeply than you might ever realize, just as Martha Washington's largely behind-the-scenes faithfulness helps support a nation being born.